2025 WWE Wishlist. I'm Will, that's Brandon. We are the Cousins of Destruction Wrestling Podcast. As always, let's cheers. Let's talk about some New Year wrestling.
Yeah, we talked about 2024 and how great of a year it was. Took a review into that. New year, new resolutions maybe for a lot of you guys. Let's take those resolutions, apply them to some WWE here.
A lot of long-term storytelling that needs to pay off in damn 2025, but we got a lot of stuff to go over. I mean, we got some mid-card people that are ready to go. We got a John Cena coming back. We got a bunch of stuff, so we're not going to do a top five. We're just going to kind of throw out what we want to see, each of us. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to start because I'm going to get it out of the way. 2025.
PFC. New Year's Day, PFC.
PFC wins the Rumble. No, I'm joking. Give John Cena everything. That's how I'm starting it. Yeah. Give John Cena everything. I just said how long-term storytelling is paying off. This makes no sense. It shouldn't happen, probably. But damn, if you're going to give a wrestler his flowers, it's going to be John Cena. We know for a fact we have from January 6th to whenever he's done in December 2025. That man was the man of my childhood. Love that man. Give him his 17th world title. Give him his Intercontinental title. Give him feuds with everybody under the sun. Let that guy do anything he wants. Let him be overpowered for another year of his career. Let him bring back Super Cena. I want to see John Cena tear up 2025.
Yeah, it's really the year of Cena for 2025, and I'm not going to sit here and complain.
Yeah.
Give him everything. You got to make sure he breaks the record, the bare minimum to me.
Yeah.
I don't really, Grand Slam champion, okay, cool. If he wants to do that, cool, awesome. But he's got to break the record. I don't care how you get there. I don't care who it is. I don't care how he does it, but you got to do it. So, yeah, that's a good one to start out with. I went with this one. We talked about in our 2024 review how a lot of the PLEs kind of felt like filler, just kind of more weekly television. So my wish list is please have some titles change hands at something other than a Big Four. Have it be on a BPLE. Have it be on a Bad Blood, a Money in the Bank. You can go on and on looking at it. It just makes it more exciting. It gives fans reasons to watch. It makes you feel like, okay, yeah, I needed to watch this because this happened. A lot of the time for the filler feuds or filler PLEs, as I like to call them, you sit there and you're like, yeah, I could have guessed that. Yeah, I could have guessed that. Oh, well, don't worry. We got SummerSlam. Well, SummerSlam's like 2 months away, but we got SummerSlam. Or, Survivor Series is coming. It's September. Survivor Series is down around the corner. So just do something like that. Spice it up a little bit.
No, I completely agree with you. And the rebuttal from people is going to be like, well, the tag team titles have changed hands multiple times on regular TV. And
Which is good.
Which is good. And Jey Uso's won, the Braun Breaker Jey Uso stuff happened on regular TV on Raw, which is great. We're not complaining about that. But like your PLEs are your PLEs. Those are your big events. And it really does at this point feel like we never really get title changes unless it's a Big Four. And even then, we don't get title changes, really.
My rebuttal to that rebuttal of like, oh, well, this happened, or SmackDown tag titles change hands, things like that. My rebuttal is you can have both. Just because it happens on weekly television doesn't mean it can't happen at a PLE.
Yeah. This leads right into this is probably the thing that I want to happen most in 2025 that I've said a bunch of times since we started the podcast. Let's shorten title reigns. Overall,
he's going to keep banging his fist on this table. There's going to be a hole in this table because he keeps smacking it.
It's just, let's have 2025 be a year we get some tug of wars with some belts. Let's end the long title thing because we had Roman for 4 years or whatever the hell it was, which it was historic. It was great. I loved it. But then we go directly into Cody, who's now had it for a long time at this point, and that feels like it's getting fatigued. And then you have Damian Priest, who's supposed to be a transitional champ, and I love him to death, and he did phenomenal with it. But even he went from WrestleMania to SummerSlam. It's like those are pretty long reigns,
man. And then Gunther picked that belt up.
But now we're with that.
And you had Liv.
And
I mean, you had Bayley for a few months, and then you had Nia.
Nia's had it since SummerSlam. Mm-hmm. It just feels like, man, it's fatiguing. It's fatiguing. And I get it. You want to establish some guys. And a guy like Gunther, who's the ring general, he deserves long title reigns, right? He's hard to beat. And Cody's Cody. Totally understand. But it doesn't mean that you can't write some interesting way to have him get knocked off for a month, to have him get knocked off for a couple weeks. You know, Cody's ankle is hurt. Now it's not hurt. and I know we're recording this way earlier because of the trip and stuff, but like stuff like that, like you can write in little injuries that give them an excuse, and then you can write back in the whole rematch clause because that thing pops up whenever it just decides to fit in WWE at this point, and have them fight again for the belt on, you know, 2 Mondays from then, and he gets the belt back. But like that little bit of title switch, that just reinvigorates, it reignites your interest in the stories.
You talk about Cody's ankle injury and how and we thought it would play a part. As we're recording this, that has not happened. Maybe it does end up playing a part, and maybe we just look stupid. One thing I will say is you had Gunther there for months, maybe a month and a half. I don't really remember. You really self-doubt, like, man, a month, am I the same Gunther? Am I the same Gunther? Am I going to be able to beat Damian Priest? And then he walks through the first 10 minutes of the match, and you're like, oh, okay, they're going somewhere with this. And then it's the same Gunther. He's just a ring general. He's just Gunther. It's like, you could have done something. You know what I mean? You could have spiced it up. To kind of piggyback off of that with your long title reigns, mine is going to be don't be afraid to pull the plug on feuds or factions. So we look at it, and 2024 at some points felt like the year of the faction. It seemed like there was a faction here and a faction here and a faction here and here and here. Everybody seemed to be in a faction. Well, admittedly, when there's that many factions, they don't all work. You look at somebody like LWO, for instance. LWO seems like you're kind of like, well, that's just kind of Ray, Zelina, and Dragon Lee. You don't really need the other two. PFC. We say it all the time. Pretty awful. You could have pulled the plug on that. Instead, I feel like they're trying to just like, no, this is going to work. We're going to keep doing it, and it's going to finally work. You don't have to do that. Liv and Rhea, for instance, was fantastic early on in the beginning, but it's gone on so long. You could have, I mean, like I said, we're recording this early, so maybe EO does beat Liv, but you could have sat there. You could have penciled somebody else in versus Liv, have Rhea, when she was actually injured, go away for a little bit. She didn't have to make that return right away. She didn't have to just hulk up and be a superhero right away. Nothing hurts me. You could have gave it some time.
Yeah, no, I agree. Pull the plug on things that really just don't seem to work. It's just WWE's roster is so deep now to where you don't need to just bat things against the door until the door breaks open. Like, like you can literally just write it off the next week and we're good. Like, like we'll understand, and you could put the same people into different feuds with different people and it'll probably work out. But like in terms of your faction, it leads right into mine. I said reset factions. Just reset them at this point, man. Judgment Day, PFC, LWO, Alpha Academy. They all felt like there's no arrow, there's no direction, there's no path. Like, sure, the Judgment Day stuff, you know, we're probably at, you know, at the point this comes out, we may even have like a Dom turn on Finn and Finn and Dom maybe going at it, or Damian, but like the rest of Judgment Day itself doesn't exist. They don't do anything anymore. No, they might sit in the back.
Not even the fixer.
Yeah, not even the fixer, not even Carlito. They don't do anything. LWO feels like, okay, Legado del Fantasma, they just come out with Santos every once in a while. Alpha Academy is doing nothing but selling t-shirts, and it just feels like these once great factions that really did well for WWE, they've run their course, and let's use like maybe this transfer portal. Let's just do something to just fizzle all these out. And then reintroduce these stars back into different ways and just kind of reset and maybe start some new factions down the line. But let's back off a little bit in 2025 with these faction things.
Yeah, a prime example of that is, for me at least, like it wasn't anything of WWE's doing. It was when they had Odyssey Jones in with the New Day.
Yeah,
that was not working at all. Well, Odyssey Jones removed himself from that.
Yep.
So WWE went back to just New Day stuff. We got the turn, obviously, with the New Day stuff. Right then and there, like, that's a blessing in disguise. They probably would have kept doing that, and that would have been awful. So, I guess, good for them. One thing here that I'm going to talk about, we talk a little bit, I guess maybe sounds like we're complaining a little bit, so I'm going to switch the narrative here. The stipulation matches for 2024 were fantastic. Absolutely perfect. They made them mean something. They hit on all levels. They did them great. They did them few and far between, but you got them just enough, and you got them in the feuds that you needed, like the end of the Drew McIntyre CM Punk, where it's Hell in a Cell. You're like, this needs to be in Hell in a Cell, and they're like, it's going to be in Hell in a Cell, and you're like, oh, this better deliver. It delivered. So those stipulation matches for me in 2024 were fantastic. Do that again, just the same way you did in 2024. Do it in 2025.
Get even more creative with it, man. Get even more creative with it.
I'm not smart enough to think of ways to do that, but yeah.
I remember when they did the strap match thing, we were like, oh, is the strap match really going to still be good in 2024? Yep. Turns out it sure did. It was pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Is that going to get overly used a little bit? Not War Games is pretty damn fun to watch. Like that stuff. Nice. Yeah, I'm completely with you. Keep up stipulations. I want to see more of it. I want to see 3 stages of hell come back. I want to see gauntlet matches. Like even little stuff like that doesn't require like outside stuff. Like give me some of that.
Lumberjack.
Lumberjack match.
Yeah.
It would have been cool to have lumberjack match with like Otis and Gable during that time. I don't know.
Oh yeah, you got the heels on one side and the face on.
Yeah,
that would have been good. But WWE said you don't even get a match with those two.
No, you don't. Mine's like 2 things kind of in one. I'm gonna flat out say NXT call up galore. Yeah. I think it should be. I mean, we talk about how strong the mid card is, and like that roster will just expand. But like, good lord, some of these NXT talents just it's their time. It's their time to be brought up. I mean, I have. I love Roxanne, Jada, Lola, Soul. I mean, she probably is years.
She'll probably be in NXT
a long time. Yeah, but I think that she's already ready. She's absolutely crazy. Oba, Trick, Ethan Page. I think Trick and Ethan Page at the very least should be on this roster come even this Mania season.
Yeah.
So just let's have an NXT takeover in that aspect. And then in terms of not just bringing them up, the women up, I just want to see new women in the main event scene, period.
Yeah.
I mean, good lord. Can we talk about that a little bit from 2024? The main event scene for Raw was Liv and Rhea, 90% of it.
Yeah.
I know WrestleMania happened and there was a little bit of Becky Lynch moved in there, but 90% of the time on Raw was Liv and Rhea.
Yeah.
And then on SmackDown, Nia gets a little bit nicer. She's kind of had a couple other people in there, but for the most part, same people.
Yeah.
And this can even bleed into the men's side too. It does feel like on the men and women's side, we just have the same, let's call it 5 to 8 people at most on both sides that are in the main event scene, and that's it. Let's get some new names up there.
Yeah.
Let's push some people.
Yeah, Nia, to her credit, like you said, you had Naomi kind of penciled in there a little bit. Some Bayley. You had some matches where she was going out on regular SmackDowns and just going out there. But also at the same time, you felt like at the end of the day, like, oh, this isn't going to lead anywhere. So something like that would be fantastic. I talked about you banging the table about shortening title reigns. I'm going to bang the table on this one. We need more emphasis on tag team wrestling. I have this one down because the Raw side of things was just god-awful.
Yeah.
Just, you didn't even need the titles.
Yeah.
They were just terrible.
Well, they weren't there. The titles weren't there.
They were Logan Paul. I don't know who's worse, them or Logan Paul. I really don't know. I guess Logan Paul, because at least Judgment Day, was at some of the Raws.
I would say the audacity of Judgment Day to show up on my TV and do nothing with it is more offensive than Logan Paul taking a break.
Dear God, that was awful. SmackDown went through a lull a little bit there. You had the Street Profits who were underutilized once again. You had the DIY and Motor City Machine Gun stuff. That stuff leading into the new year, that feud's going to be great. That's going to be fantastic. But I've always thought of Triple H as being like a tag team guy, like bread and butter. This is what I remember, like the calling card of WWE at times was tag team wrestling. And I feel like we really lost that in 2024. So I just want to bring that back and make it prominent, make it important again.
Street Profits.
It's very simple.
That's my answer to your question.
It's a very simple.
Put the belts on them. Give us Street Profits versus...
Very simple.
Just give us Street Profits versus heel New Day and let them cook. Let them cook for 2 months, 3 months on Raw. Let them bring back, and if you're going to, I'll add your last 2 together, bring back stipulated tag team wrestling matches. Give us Street Profits versus New Day in a tag team title ladder match.
Oh, you know what I would like to see, though? A tornado tag steel cage match.
Yeah, dude, how long has that been?
I don't know, but that sounds really cool.
Yeah,
I missed that.
Yeah, why not? Like, come on, these guys could go. Street Profits are incredible. Freaking do it. Bring back tag team wrestling. Freaking at least have the tag team titles on them when they come out, when they walk out to the ring at times.
I understand that 2024 was like a big year for single stuff, obviously, but I couldn't tell you how many PLEs we went through. No tag matches.
Yeah.
I mean, the women's tag titles were the best of either men's or the women.
Christ, when is the last time there was a non-woman tag team championship match on the PLE?
I couldn't tell you. Somebody I'm sure knows, but for me, it's been a while.
All right, I got a couple big ones.
Okay. I got 3 more on my list.
Me too. I got a couple big ones. These are bigger. These are story specific.
Oh,
these are big.
Mm.
In 2025, I want them to end the Bloodline story. I think it's time. I think it is just time. I think specifically right now we're recording this, I think proves that it's time. After Survivor Series, you had the War Games match happen, and that kind of ends a chapter of the Bloodline story, the Bloodline Civil War saga. It feels like it's kind of over in that aspect.
Yeah.
And then Roman immediately leaves. And it feels like Solo and them are just kind of dilly-daddling and trying to make themselves stay afloat during this time.
And they were unlucky because some of the injuries, things like that.
And they were unlucky because of the injuries. And it's starting to show itself that it feels like they're just trying to stretch this Bloodline story as far as they can in a time span. Like it feels like it feels like they're taking like purposeful pauses just to buffer. And I'm fine with it because I still love Solo Sikoa's Bloodline 2.0, and obviously I love Roman and I trust them with this story. Mm-hmm. But I can't see this going another 2 WrestleManias, 3 WrestleManias. That feels like overkill. I think it's easily one of, if not the greatest story in wrestling history, and it deserves to go down, before it hits its Michael Jordan Wizards era of storytelling, right?
Yeah. I couldn't have said it better myself. Or before the LeBron. Oh, wait, no. LeBron won a title when he went to the Lakers and the Heat and the Cavs. Look at that.
Oh, man.
Just stating facts here. I don't want it to get just dragged on and on and on and on and on until you're like, God, remember the good old days back when the Bloodline stuff was really good?
And with that saying,
we're starting to get there.
I think people have already started saying that, really. Like, as much as you could like the War Games matches and you like the work between Roman and Solo, I do think there's already a large crowd of people who are like, this isn't hitting like it used to. Mm-hmm. This isn't hitting. And even when they had to bring back all of OG Bloodline again, that felt a little rushed. And I don't know.
It felt a little rushed and like it hit, but it also was like I was wanting a little bit more. A little bit something was missing. So I've got 3 more here. One, I'm specifically going to talk about WrestleMania with a match that I want, which I think they will do. I don't care which one you do it at, whether it's the Women's Intercontinental or the Women's United States. Put one of those titles in a Money in the Bank type ladder match just for the title. Just have like an 8-woman ladder match for that title.
You're all about stipulations.
And go have at it, because that women's Money in the Bank match was phenomenal. Fantastic. They talked, these mid-card titles, they did that for years with the men. I mean, they threw a lot of random people in those matches. I would prefer to not see random people. You could get somebody called up from NXT just like that. Put them in there. Here, go out WrestleMania with this 8-woman match. Go put on a show. Go steal the show. There's so many matches anyway that it's going to be hard to get so many people on the card. They run into that every year. So go ahead, just do that. I want to see that.
You're just big on stipulations. You just want stipulations.
Yeah.
You want title stipulated matches. That's your big one.
Yeah. Yeah, as a whole, if you had to look at it, yeah. That's just specifically for Mania because I've been thinking about that for a year now.
That's just a kid who grew up playing Here Comes the Pain and No Mercy and never doing a one-on-one singles match ever for a it's a title match. Of course it's got to be in a Hell in a Cell. Of course it's in an elimination
Of course
chamber.
you got to have a ladder match. I mean, it's just cooler. Yeah. It's just more fun. Yeah. And when they do them correctly, they're better.
Yeah. To follow up my last one, a big one. Another big one. These are my 2 big ones.
I got 2 big ones too.
In 2025, they should turn Cody Rhodes heel.
Ooh.
It should happen. It should absolutely happen. We don't need this to be a second. We don't need Cody to try to play Cena while Cena's back. So Cena's back. People are already going to cheer that guy whether he walks into the arena after just committing a vile crime or not. They love John Cena.
Somebody's grandma.
He could somebody's grandma. Nobody's going to care. Mm-hmm. So you already have that guaranteed pop and love character on your roster. What a time as any to turn Cody Rhodes heel. Do it. Pull the sheet from out underneath us. Make him the American nightmare aspect. Give us heel Cody Rhodes in 2025 and let that man cook.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't have any problem with that. I think Cena, we talked about how give Cena everything. Cena is going to be the ultimate babyface of babyface of babyface of babyface. And I think it's a really interesting and a good point for WWE to kind of try new things. Try people that maybe you don't think would be a good heel. Just have them try it. Like, see if you find something. See if they've got something. Why not give it a shot? Cody Rhodes is at the top of that list. Everybody talks about Cena not getting that heel run. Everybody knows Cody can do it. Cody will be great at it when it happens.
Well, and everybody assumes that Cody Rhodes is going to get turned on by Randy Orton in order for that feud to happen. What if it's not that way? What if Cody Rhodes is the one to turn on Randy Orton? That would be such a much more interesting way of doing it. And I just really want to harp on the fact that I don't think you need two John Cenas at once. Just let John Cena be the face and give Cody Rhodes an entire year of being a heel badass nightmare.
I like that. My two are, I guess, wish list ideas that will never happen. And I know they will never happen, but that doesn't mean I won't stop talking about them. That has nothing to do with storylines. It has nothing to do with wrestlers. It's WWE as a whole. My first one here, for the love of God, please stop going to commercial 30 seconds after the match starts. That's maybe my biggest one.
Wheatley, so good, I drink it neatly.
I mean, I understand you got to get your commercials in. I understand you got to get paid. You got to get your sponsors. I get it. But for the viewing audience at home, especially on the Raw side, Raw gets really bad when bell rings. Okay, boom, commercial break. And it's like, it takes out of it. It really makes it hard to enjoy matches.
You know what takes me out of matches? When The Rock and Roman are teaming up against Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins, and a freaking insurance logo is all over the freaking stadium. When matches are sponsored, when one match is sponsored by something like Dom Mysterio versus Rey Mysterio is sponsored by freaking Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
That's the one I remember.
We got that all over the ring. It's like this. They're putting on a banger. It's a father-son's dream. This is like once in a lifetime. And I got freaking Cinnamon Toast Crunch all over my damn screen. It's like, I bet Dom doesn't even eat that. They don't have Tindy flavored Cinnamon Toast Crunch. What is this nonsense?
I agree with that, but the commercials good God, we talk about it every week with our live streams. It makes it tough.
It does.
It makes it really hard to enjoy the product. And I understand they did some picture-in-picture, but even that at times just takes away. It's like, God, why should I even pay attention?
Yeah, I completely agree. I got one more big one that I think that is imminent.
Spell that.
Do not overstack your Netflix roster because SmackDown will get left in the absolute dust. And I feel like that may be the case in what they're doing. And I get it when Netflix pays the big bucks. And this happens anytime WWE decides to take a bunch of money from somebody new. They always try to stack that roster because that's what the company that they're signing with wants. They say, we want these guys, and that's the deal. And I get it. And Netflix is going to want Cody. They're going to want Roman. They're going to want all the big time stars, and WWE's probably going to give it to them for a little while. But man, oh man, does that leave the other brand out to dry. And if we are going to 3-hour SmackDowns as well, you cannot steal all the talent and expect us to have good 3-hour long shows. So do not overstack that Netflix roster.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Thinking about it, that's they are going to overstack it, and SmackDown's going to be kind of rough at times. That's where your NXT call-ups come into hand. They all go to SmackDown. It's just NXT 2.0. It's just on Fridays.
I'm down.
My last one again. I said it's not going to happen. It's again not wrestlers. It's not storylines. It's just at WWE. Just like my last one was. I understand you guys are booming. I understand you guys want to make money. I understand how great it is to go to a WWE show. Make things affordable for the everyday average person. Looking at the Mania tickets, looking at the Rumble tickets, looking even just to go to a Raw or SmackDown. It's ridiculous. It makes it really hard, especially if you are a family. Like if you have a family and you want to go watch with your kids, how are you supposed to take them, give them that experience, be like, hey, this is something you guys should be lifelong fans of. When you sit down in the seats and you go to a WWE show for the first time, it's like nothing you've ever experienced before. And it's awesome. And it's fantastic. I get nervous that they are taking that away from a lot of people because of how expensive and pricey everything is.
I 100% agree with you. The day that my dad took me to my first wrestling event, it was like, I don't even know. I literally can't even put it in the words. It was that amazing to me. It was like seeing real life superheroes in front of my eyes. And, we're getting to the age where like family isn't that far down the road realistically. And I will not be able to afford the prices that they have right now. Like, a dream. I was lucky enough to where my dad was able to purchase me WrestleMania tickets for a big gift when I graduated, and we went. I can't do that. I can't do that. We look at WrestleMania tickets now, and it's like what like that doesn't make responsible sense. Like as an adult, who's trying to get on their feet, like it doesn't make sense to do that, especially with travel, hotel, all that stuff's also expensive. So them selling like bleacher stands where you have to bring a binocular to see the 12 by 12 squared circle, that's just rude. That's it feels offensive to people who have really, the reason this is getting so big is because professional wrestling for a long time was a niche, whatever the word is, a niche, right? And we as a fan base have grown and introduced all of these other people. We multiply each other basically. And now we're to the point where we're booming again. And now it feels like the average wrestling fan can't even go to an event. Yeah.
Yeah. And it just makes it really tough. Especially if you want to go to some of those big time things. I mean, like you said, we check Mania tickets every day. Every day I look at it, I pull it up and I go, oh, every day. Cause it's like, I'm not going to be able to do that.
I check my wrestling tickets and I check my FanDuel. Damn it. Didn't hit. My $5 bet into $17,000 didn't hit. Looks like I'm still not going.
My WrestleMania parlay didn't hit. Dang. That's pretty much what it takes almost at this point. Yeah. So I get nervous for that. Not to mention if you go, let's say Raw comes here and let's say you have a child and you go and it's like, okay, well, I gotta get the tickets. Okay, well, they're going to want a shirt. Well,
$40.
Okay, well, they're going to want food. And
$40.
I get it. Like, WWE is a business, and at the end of the day, they are making money. That's what they're about. I understand it. But you got to be able to find some middle ground.
Yeah, I'm very glad you brought that up because that is a very heads-on take that I think that everybody should have the opinion on. So anyway, we got kind of carried away with that, but those were our 2025 WWE wish list. At the end of the day, I just hope that the quality of product continues to be this good. Yep. Wrestling is absolutely fun. It's amazing. Let's have a great 2025. Let's do it. This comes out on the 1st, so happy New Year to absolutely everybody. Yeah. So this will be our first calendar year of our podcast too. So we're looking forward to potentially growing with all of you as well. So spread the word of everything. So follow us at COD WrestlePod. Speaking of that, COD WrestlePod. Listen to us wherever you get your podcasts at YouTube, Spotify, Apple, etc. If you want to come follow our streams, twitch.com/COD WrestlePod. We watch Raw, SmackDown, PLEs, everything. Come watch with us. And then we have a link tree in our bio with absolutely all of our socials. Come follow us on all of our socials. Comment. We love getting into the chats with you guys. Discord as well. Let's have ourselves a good year. I'm Will. That's Brandon. We are the Cousins of Destruction Wrestling Podcast. We will see you next time.